Critical points. So what are critical points? Basically, there's our definition. Any time when the derivative is equal to 0 or undefined, it's going to create key points that we want to look at. So we call them critical points. Now, some of these critical points have better names. It's sort of like saying, yeah, we can call a four-sided figure a quadrilateral, but we have better names for things like rectangles and squares and things. So critical points are sort of like the family of points, and then some of them we have specific names. So, for instance, here we go. Here's a, well, it looks like a cubic, doesn't it? Now, our maximum turning point there is a critical point, but we tend to call those ones stationary points. So we don't tend to use the word critical point for that one, we tend to say stationary points. But it is a critical point. And that one would be a maximum turning point. And then, of course, down the bottom, we have a minimum turning point. So both examples of critical points where the derivative would be equal to 0. Also a cubic that I've tried to draw in there what we call a horizontal point of inflection. So again, the first derivative is equal to 0. It would also be a stationary point, but it is a type of critical point. Okay. Then we get ones like this. Okay. If we were to draw in a tangent at that turning point, it would end up being vertical. So it means the slope, if you like, is infinite. Rise over run would be something over 0. So it's undefined. That's one where the derivative would be undefined. And that we do call a critical point. And then we have interesting ones like this, what we call cusps, where depending on which direction we're coming from, we'll get different values for the slope. If I'm coming from the left-hand side, the slope's negative and approaching that undefined, whereas on the right-hand side, the slope's positive and approaching the undefined. But at the point itself, it is undefined. Not continuous, that's incorrect. It is actually continuous. It's not differentiable, I should have said there. It's not differentiable. So you can't actually differentiate at that point. The derivative is undefined. It is still a minimum point. It is a minimum point of the curve, but it's not a turning point. It's a critical point. So that first bit's really just defining, okay, what are critical points?